In this video, I am going to explain you some important concepts of AWS IAM service. So let's get started. As you can see here on the screen, these are the contents of this video, like what is IAM service, what are the different components of IAM, what are the IAM users groups and its policies, what are the different features of IAM. If you open the main console of this AWS service, here you can see IAM. You can also search IAM and you can see its top features like groups, users, roles, policies, and assets analyzer. So by clicking on IAM, you can see the assets management which you can do, like users, role, policies. So what is IAM? So IAM basically a AWS service which is used to manage access to AWS resources. It controls who, identity, what can do on which resources. In simple terms, it is an identity which a users on access the permissions which a particular users can do. What are its core components? So its core component, first, root users, which is your main AWS account, which has also a full access to everything. Best practices are not to use root account, rather rather than creating an account which is administrative permissions. You can also enable MFA authentication for root account, or also do not share your root credentials. If you want to check that if your root account has enabled MFA or not, you can basically go to your console. You can click here on the right. You can go to security credentials and you can see here that you have enabled or not MFA, multi-factor authentication. Right now you can see I have already enabled my NFA on my this root user account which I am currently using. So what is IAM user? It is basically individual identities for people. You can give AWS access to a physical user to a company. Limit is basically up to 5,000 user per AWS account, means 5,000 user per AWS root user account. It have username and password. It have access keys, secret access keys, but you must have to manually create them. For example, one user, developer, and admin. Here you can see on the section, this is the users. By clicking on it, users, you can see how many users right now you have. Right now you can see I have 3 users. If you click on one user, you can see what are its permissions, what are its and by going to security credentials, we can also see it have SS keys or not, or it have also enabled MFA or not. So in next video, I am going to do a hands-on lab on all of these, like users, role, policy, how to create them, how to manage them. But in this video, I'm only explain all of these. So what is IAM groups? So groups is basically a collection of users. Policies are attached to the groups and applied to the every users in that group. Best practices is to use groups to assign permissions to users. When assigning permissions, you can use principle of least privilege. It means you should be careful of giving a particular permissions to a particular user of that group. You will to assign permissions to add multiple users. For example, dev group, all developers get the same access. You see here and click on user groups. You can see I have currently one group which is named DV. If you click on it, you can see the users. Right now in this group have, you can also see the permissions. Like right now I have AWS EC2 full access which is given to all of these 3 users. So coming to IAM roles, which is very important. It is temporary access with no login credentials. It means your basically your access keys, your login password, or used by AWS service, EC2 Lambda, and CI/CD tools. It is also used for cross account access, means you can exchange your roles into your different AWS account. Roles are you also use policies to define permissions, which is also very important. IAM roles is basically a way to give access without storing credentials. Like it is basically you can give access without generating your access keys. Or for example, you can give EC2 roles to access S3. Means if you want your particular EC2 instance to have the permissions to check S3 or S3 bucket, you can use these IAM roles. You can see here the roles are here right now. These are the roles. You can also create role, which I will do in the next video. So right now, let's come back to what is IAM policies. And is IAM policy is a JSON document that defines permissions in AWS. IAM policy rules that determine access control in AWS. It specifies what actions are allowed or not allowed on which resources. Like here you can see the policies right here. You can see these are the policies. These policies you can give to a user. And here are the structure, which is a JSON structure. Like these are the structure of the your IAM policy. These are these components like version, statement, effects, actions, resources. Effects means basically if you want to allow, not allowed actions, which here you can see key element versions. It is basically same for all. Specify policy language, common value 2012. You can see a statement. The main block which containing permissions can contain multiple statements like effect. It means it allow or not allow. Actions specify what operations are allowed or not allowed. Like for example, S3 get objects easy to start instance. I have also explained it in my previous AWS S3 video in more detail. Like here you can see its resources specify which resource is affected. Like if you click on all resources, it means basically star. You can see star means for all resources. Best practices are follow at least privilege principle, means you have to be very careful of what resources you are assigning to which user, and you should avoid using star means for all unless it is necessary. Prefer manage policies for the use conditions for tighter security, and regularly view and audit policy. What are its feature of IAM? It is basically centralized control, manage all assets from one place, no need to set permissions service by service. Shared assets, which means many users can use one AWS account. Everyone gets their own login, no sharing account needed. Granular permissions means you can control what actions read, write, delete on which resource, gives very precise control for you. Identity federations means users can log in using Google company login. No need to create IAM user for everyone. Multi-factor authentication. It is a extra security layer. Login, password, OTP. Temporarily access roles. Access is given for limited time. No permanent credentials needed and more secure. Compliance support helps to meet security standard and good for company. Secure API access like control how apps talk to AWS user access key tokens. You can also access key and tokens using API access. Policy based control, it means permissions are written in policies like JSON and attached to users, groups, and rules. Monitoring and auditing means you can track who did what and when they did it. It also helps in securing and debugging. So, what is IAM itself is free, but you have to be careful that the services those users are accessing are not free. User you uses EC2, it gets charged. User uses S3, it gets charged. User runs Lambda, maybe charged. but mistaken in this IAM can cause huge bills. For example, if you giving full access to someone who have a full access of EC2, he can launch 100 EC2 and you get a heavy AWS bill. That's it for now. Thank you for watching this video.